Welcome to Seth's Daily Podcast, the Line Before podcast. I want to thank everybody that has followed and liked the Nighthawk Radio's Facebook page. I want to thank everybody that subscribed on YouTube, Spotify, followed on TikTok. The radio station will be out soon. Just wait
Yep.
on it.
Yeah. I know we keep saying it's coming soon, but it really truly is coming soon.
It is, man. But hey, man, we hit 200 followers on Facebook.
205.
My bad, 205. And we hit
205.
1K views on the Two Girls and One Cut
Two
CUT.
different shows they've hit over 1,000 views.
Yeah. It's CUT, by the way.
That's right. CUT. Two girls, one cut.
Oh man,
No,
we're
but it's an
blessed
awesome
enough.
show, man. You guys, everybody check it out.
Yeah, John, you need to check it out as well. We're blessed enough to have a singer from Indiana. He actually is friends with one of my cousins, John Crouch. How are you doing tonight, man?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. How are you doing tonight, Tracy, as well?
Doing good, my friend. Doing good.
Yes, sir.
How are you
John,
doing?
I'm making it, man. I'm doing better than what I was Saturday. That's for
You
sure.
look like you're in the tropics, though.
Nah, sadly, still in Eastern Kentucky. But John, how's the weather up in Indiana, man?
Not bad at all. It's actually been really nice today. It's been, I want to say, in the 70s, I'd say. It's been like just right out. It's been pretty sunny, and I've been outside most of the day. I was hanging out with a guy I work with. I actually went out to a shooting range and did some did some target shooting, and then came back and hung out at my place for a little bit and sat outside. And it was actually a really nice day. It's nice to see the sun again.
Yeah. We've had a lot of rain here too, and it's especially the past few days. But oh my gosh, it was so nice today. I mean, it was actually just a tad bit on the warm side, but I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Especially with the weather we've been having, man.
Yeah,
now I guess we ought to expect that.
yeah, that's
Definitely.
true. And you know what? I don't know about you guys. To me, we've actually had an actual spring this year instead of going from from to winter to summer.
Yeah, definitely. That's been nice. It
Yeah,
It has been. This is
always,
actually a question for both. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, John.
yo, you're okay. Said the Midwest doesn't always have spring and fall. It's nice when we get it.
that's true.
Absolutely, man. This is actually a question for both of you guys, as both of you do music and have done music for years. Who inspired both of you guys to do music?
For me, I have a lot of influences. Um, I gotta say, I mean, my parents are the ones that started playing bluegrass music for me. They didn't really play like instruments or anything. My dad played a little bit of guitar, but um, they never played in really band or anything. Um, but I grew up listening to bluegrass music um, with my father in the vehicle. So I actually grew up on the eastern shore of Maryland, about 10 miles from the nearest small town, something like that. And so we had a pretty good drive up to town. And um, on the way up to town, we used to listen to cassette tapes back then, if that says how old I am.
I remember those.
So, yeah, we listened to cassette tapes of bluegrass music. And then every Sunday morning, uh, my dad would play a bluegrass gospel show on a station out of Washington, D.C. And so I grew up listening to bluegrass. I always loved bluegrass music. And I also listened to some, country and Southern gospel. And I started watching some like bluegrass music TV shows. And when I was a teenager, for some reason, I felt really interested in the mandolin. And I begged my parents for a mandolin for several years. They were hesitant to get me one because they thought that, it was something I would just kind of uh, pick up for a little bit and give up on, put it away. But finally, I think for my 16th birthday, they got me uh, a cheaper mandolin, my first one. it was really good quality for the price. It was a Rogue. And so I started practicing that for probably a couple hours a day. And by the time I was 18, I joined a local bluegrass band. So as far as my influences, there's so many of them to name. I got to say Doyle Austin and Quicksilver were a big one. Bluegrass band. They did a lot of gospel. Doyle Austin was around for, I think he had his own band for probably 30 or 40, I want to say. So I got to mention him. Ricky Skaggs, I always liked him. As far as country, I really like country music. My parents didn't listen to as much actual country bluegrass. So I didn't start listening to a lot of country until later. But I found that I really like classic country story songs, especially.
Yes, me too.
I got to say, George Jones is one of my favorites. I'd say he would be a big influence. Keith Whitley, Merle Haggard. I went to a Hank Williams Jr. concert last year. I've been listening to Hank for a while, but I always loved Hank. Of course, Hank Sr., he wrote so many songs and kind of, I got to say, he was probably one of the people that kind of set the bar for country music.
Yeah, for sure.
And, but I listen to all kinds of music, but I say a lot of the bluegrass, like the 90s and early 2000s bluegrass, and the classic country is probably, a lot of my inspirations.
Yeah. And see, for me, I don't really have anybody who's influenced me. I just admire good musicians.
Yeah.
And as, I grew up in the late 70s, early 80s through the hair band stuff. And, there were some incredible guitar players come through there. And then you got people like Neil Peart, who was, one of the greatest drummers ever, and Tommy Aldridge. And, to me, I just admire good musicians.
Mm-hmm.
But I like musicians that people don't suspect who are good musicians, And take Willie Nelson. Great singer, great songwriter. Never really thought much of him as a guitar player.
Yeah.
Until I saw him live one time, and he played like a boss. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my gosh, why isn't this on albums? And of course, through the hair band stuff, unknown guitar players like Jakey Lee and other guys like that. And then, Vince Gill. Vince Gill's a great guitar player.
Oh,
and you mentioned Ricky Skaggs, phenomenal guitar player. And he grew up probably 20 minutes from where I'm at right now.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't really have one particular person I could point out, but when I hear a good musician, I just go, that dude's good, That dude kicks butt.
So where exactly you live is, I know you're somewhere in eastern Kentucky then.
I am in southern Ohio.
Oh.
I am directly across from Ashland, Kentucky. I can look out my front door and see Ashland, Kentucky, right across the river.
Okay.
So, and then, we've got Route 23 that runs up through here. They call it the Music Highway, Country Music Highway. And there's so many that's come through, there's, Ricky Skaggs, Keith Whitley, Patty Loveless is, down Pikeville, Chris Stapleton, Paintsville.
They're still coming out of there.
The Judds are from Ashland. So, there's just so much talent that comes out of this area right here. Dwight Yoakam, he's from this area.
Oh, yeah.
There's just, and the way I look at it is those are the ones that people know. How many that are unknown that are just as good?
Mm-hmm.
Like Tony Sloan.
Tony Sloan. Tony's great. Tony's great. Honey Wright. Wes Well, West Ship. I mean, they're great. They're great, musicians and great songwriters and great singers. And there's just so much talent that comes from this area that it's really, if you sit back and just think about all the people that are from here, it's like, wow, just from this little area right here, there's how many tons of number one hits that's come out of this place.
Oh yeah, yeah. I always think, you see so many good musicians out there, playing on stages and stuff. For every one of them, there's probably several of them sitting on their front porch and never made it out.
That nobody will ever know.
Yeah. I mean, I've met great musicians out there that, either just didn't put in the work to become well known, or they just didn't want to be.
That's right.
They didn't want to travel. They love playing their church, whatever.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I'm telling you, some of the best singers and musicians I've ever played with come out of churches.
Oh, yeah.
Just the church background, and it's a lot of it is just raw talent.
Mm-hmm.
Just raw talent. And it's something that those people are born with it. They just, no matter what they do, they can't do it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. Some of them will never be known.
Yeah. It's like, if every musician was known by everybody, I wouldn't have a chance.
And you know what? If it was easy, anybody could do it.
Oh, yeah.
So, but you got to put the time in. I mean, you got to learn your instruments. You got to learn, like I can't read music at all. I have no idea. I understand notes on a fretboard. I understand, timing and beats and things like that. But to see that on paper, it's like, no way. I wouldn't know what to do.
So I started to learn to read music when I first got my mandolin when I was 16. I also got an instruction book with it. It's like a mandolin lesson book, and it taught you how to read, sheet music and stuff. And so I started learning it. I learned the first few songs in there by sheet music. And then I said, you know what? I'm learning the scales on this and stuff. This sheet music is messing up my creativity. I don't want this anymore. I can pick it out on my own. So I play by ear. And
that's me. I do the, yeah, I totally play by ear. And that's, to me, it's so much easier than to try to look at that on paper. I do not understand it. I've tried it. People's tried to show me. I just don't, it just does not comprehend in my brain how that works. So I just assume, tell me what key you're in and leave me alone and let me do my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because keys I can find,
And the thing is, the best musicians out there that play by ear, they might hit a really cool lick on it, but they don't even know what they did. Like every single time they play a song, it's going to be a little bit different. They can't play the same way 2 times in a row.
It's funny you mention that because I have a keyboard here sitting behind me. I don't know if you might be able to see it a little bit, but anyway, I can play something on that and it would be one of the most beautiful things you ever heard. But for me to do it again,
yep,
no way, never happened. It never happened.
I remember one time. So, I play in the Carl Bentley Band now, a bluegrass band based out of Indianapolis area. And there was something I did. I think it was, I don't remember if it was during a show or during practice, but when I played my mandolin break, there was something I did, and they were all like, wow, that was a cool lick. They all liked it. And next time we played that song, they said, hey, play that lick you did again. I'm like, what lick? I don't remember what I did. I have no idea how to do it. Eventually it'll just come out again, but I literally don't remember how to do whatever I did.
I agree. I know exactly what you mean. I do. Because if you don't have it on paper to see it, to do it again, unless you play it just the same thing over and over and over and over, you're not going to hit it the same way every time. So, yeah, It's
The thing is, time it might be an even cooler lick. So
you never know. And see, that's the thing about music. It's so open to different things, and you could play the same thing 15 different ways,
hmm
and it will sound different every time. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. You generally find out pretty quick the ones that don't, because
oh,
that don't sound good at all. So, but yeah, I mean, and I think that's part of the excitement for me with music, is just to find little runs and little things that you do, and it's like, yeah, man, that fits. That's great right there.
now I've learned one of the secrets of being a good musician, especially playing live, is learning how to cover up your mistakes.
Exactly.
Because even the best musicians out there like make mistakes. Now, when I first started playing, in public with bands and stuff, I was always, I mean, I get a little nervous. I'm like, what if I can't play this right? What if I try to play this and I don't play it quite right and I end up making a mistake? Everybody's going to notice. It's going to make me look like a bad musician. It wasn't until a while later I came to realize, even if you make a mistake, you might think that sounded terrible. Nobody else, like 90% of the people don't even notice.
You got to act like you've done it 100 times.
Yeah. I mean, you could play some notes that are off, whatever, or like just go completely away from the melody. Nobody even notices.
Yeah, that's
I've
so
learned
true.
to relax a lot more because no matter what I play, it could be sloppy, whatever. I don't know. I don't know if it's sound systems or just people don't know music, but a lot of times you make a mistake, nobody notices. If you get good at covering up your mistakes, like finding some way to make it sound like you intentionally did that, you're a good musician.
That's right. And I have found out that once you hit, say if you go sharp or flat on a note or something, you just syncopate it and go back to where you need to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Even if the note you played clashes with the music, still hardly anybody even notices.
That's true. That is so true. The only people that catch it are the other musicians.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's like they'll hear that and go, "Oh, he hit that wrong."
Yeah.
Not people in the crowd.
Most people in the crowd don't catch it. They really don't.
Mm-hmm.
But musicians have a different ear than what just normal people do. I by no means do I have perfect pitch, but I can hear one that's off.
Yeah.
And most musicians can. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. You just got to play it off like you meant to do it, and just go to where you need to go. From there.
I mean, if it gets bad enough, you can always say you're playing jazz.
That's right. Or walk away from the mic, or step on your cord and unplug it.
Well, Tracy, one time me and you kind of had to. One time we had somebody in here. Never mind. I ain't gonna go.
Oh, yeah, that was years ago. This that was bad. There was no recovering from that. So
I can't say his name, but
no. Well, that was years ago. I mean, like years ago. So
I forgot the dude's name, to be honest.
I probably don't want to remember it anyway. But but I actually was in the studio this time last year playing on a CD, which was a lot of fun, but nothing beats live.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much fun. You get the crowd going. When you're physically looking at people and playing, and sometimes it makes people nervous, but I've never been one to, that don't make me nervous.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I've always had a good time doing live stuff.
I'll tell you, when the crowd is, really into it, you can tell they're having a great time. They're applauding you and everything. Like, it's such an adrenaline rush. It's like,
yeah.
When you tell you're helping people have a good time and people are really into what you're doing, like, you just feed off that energy. And it's like, it's literally like a drug. Like I literally crave playing live shows sometimes when I don't for a while.
Yeah, and if you have, especially if you have a lot of harmonies that are together,
Yeah.
and when you hear it and it's on, when you're in the groove, and it sounds like that wall of sound, like somebody's blowing on a harmonica, and everybody's just right where they need to be. It's just like there's nothing better.
Oh yeah.
That's so much fun. So what else you got, Seth?
What else I got? Um, well, I guess I could ask both of you guys this question since both of you play music. What's your two guys' favorite place that you've ever played at, like live?
Hmm, that's a tough one. For me, I traveled and played in a bunch of churches. To me, the playing in churches, you want to talk about people actually just getting into it. I've done some other live stuff, which I enjoyed. I mean, I enjoyed it all. I played like summer festivals and different things like that. But to me, it's got to be in church, man. Just in it's any church, and I don't care if there's 10 people or 200. It's those folks really get into your music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've played a lot of churches as well. Um, yeah, I agree. It's really uh, when you're having music and worship together, you know, having fellowship with other Christians. That's great. So
And
yeah, I've played a lot of churches. Uh,
yeah,
that's always good. As far as other festivals I've played, I gotta give a shout out to my friends up in Michigan. Uh, there's a festival I played up in Michigan. Somebody say something.
I heard that, but I didn't know.
Oh, it must have been something. I thought one of you asked me something. So there's a festival up in Michigan. It's actually coming up in a couple weeks, but it's a country festival that a family puts on their farm. They have a great big farm, and they have music through the day. It's the festival is called Rockin' in the Woods. It's in Croswell, Michigan, and I got to play up there last year, and that is one of the best crowds. I think the weather was a little iffy last year. We had some rain. The weather held up good for my set and one or two acts after me, and then it started pouring rain, as I remember, and they had to move it inside. But they got a big barn, and after all the music for the night was over, we all just sat around and we had some jam sessions in the barn. We had, everybody just had, it's like a big party. And then they also had camping. They have a campground out there. People brought their RVs in, and they had tent camping and everything. So I stayed in a camper up there, and the area was beautiful. The people were really nice. It's the Smith family that puts it on. It's Rockin' in the Woods Country Festival, which is I want to say the second weekend of June. It's coming up, not this coming weekend, but next. I want to say it's June 14th. They have it this year. Um, and then they also have a bluegrass festival called Backwoods Bluegrass Fay Fest. And I want to say the first weekend of October. And those people are some of the nicest people I've played with. And everybody up there just, they really appreciate the music. We all had a great time up there. And say as far as festivals, that's probably one of my favorites I've played. Closely followed by the Kentucky Opry that we're playing again this coming weekend. That was a really good one too.
You mentioned jam sessions.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that is a lot of fun as well. When you just
Oh
get a
yeah.
bunch of guys sitting around either a campfire or just sitting in chairs in somewhere, and somebody just busts loose on a song and everybody just kind of joins in, and you'll have six or seven guitar players and four or five bass players, and everybody's playing it their interpreted way, and somebody will break out in a little solo, and then the next guy will break out into a solo, and to me that is, if I've been in a bunch of those, and I was like, man, I wish we would have recorded that. That would have been great,
Oh,
But those are a lot of fun as well.
I was uh, I was having a little jam with one of my buddies. I was over at his house one time, and him and I played guitar together. Like we used to work together actually, and he got another job, but we stayed in touch and played guitar together sometimes. And I was over at his house with his girlfriend one time, and she was recording us playing, and I played, I think, "Follow You to Virgie" by Tyler Childers.
Yeah.
I'd never played it before. Uh, he was just kind of learning it, and he had like a different kind of strumming pattern. It wasn't exactly like what Tyler Childers did, but I had my mandolin over there. It was just the two of us playing, and I sang it, and it turned out so good. Like just the feel of it, the um, whatever he was doing, this rhythm he was doing on the guitar. Um, it just, and I was like chopping on the mandolin, so it had a little more of a it was a little more choppy than Tyler Childers did it, but it's
Right.
perfect. The only problem was um, he was wearing like what was it, SpongeBob sweatpants something, and let me. So we've got a great video that he won't post because he was wearing whatever kind of sweatpants or pajamas or whatever he had on.
That is funny. It may be, one of the greatest, songs ever, but we can't put that out. I had on
Yeah,
SpongeBob sweatpants.
and I went back up there and I said, "Hey, let's do that song again. Put whatever you want to wear. I don't even care. Like that just adds to the character of it. But whatever you feel comfortable wearing, put it on." And I want to record a proper video of "Follow You to Virgie." Well, we tried again. I was, trying really hard to get exactly like it was that one night. I just couldn't do it anymore.
You couldn't
But I
catch that lightning in the bottle.
recorded like his girlfriend just took her phone out and started recording while we were playing. Like, I didn't expect that. We were literally just sitting back having fun, relaxing. I couldn't play it like that anymore.
Yeah, you tried to catch that lightning in a bottle twice and you couldn't do it.
Yep.
So,
The
yeah, and
time we're jamming, don't wear SpongeBob sweatpants.
yeah, exactly. Or not care that you got them on.
Yeah, one or the other. But
Yeah, that's a lot of fun to just sit around with. Well, that's like there's a flea market up here that a guy has a guitar shop in, and I went up last Saturday, and him and I sit there and played for like 3 hours. And next thing you know, you just kind of turn around, and there was like a crowd of, I don't know, there might have been 7, 8 people standing there, and we never even knew they were there. We was just, me and him was kind of in the zone doing our thing. And so yeah, I said that's his name's Norm. I said, hey Norm, that's the best thing you could do is to sell a guitar is let us sit here and play.
definitely.
But yeah, me and him was just kind of in the zone there, and when we'd finished the song, I just kind of spun my chair around and looked, and I mean there was like 8 people standing there. I was like, oh, we got a crowd.
Oh yeah.
So, but that's a lot of fun. Just little things like that to where if that you and your buddies just sit around and play, man, and
Mhm.
somebody pick a song or just start playing a song, and everybody else just start playing with it.
Yeah. Back in my first band I played with, so we're based out of the small town in Indiana called Liberty, It is literally like Mayberry from Andy Griffith's show. Like
Right.
everybody knows everybody. There are no chain restaurants or anything except for Subway. That's the only one. All the other businesses around there, and I mean, there's 2 gas stations, there's a Shell and a BP. But as far as I know, I think all the other businesses are locally owned. They don't want any McDonald's or like anything like that in there. It's like the only
Right.
have a McDonald's. They want to keep it that way.
Sure.
Right in the center of town, there's a great big courthouse with a gazebo out on the lawn. And we used to go have our band rehearsals in that gazebo. And we'd have kind of like a, we had certain songs we had to go over, if it was new stuff that we needed some more practice on, whatever. A lot of the songs we played, were pretty easy, and we played them so long, we could do them in our sleep. But we used to always get a crowd around there, and I love playing in public and stuff for people, but I hated doing our rehearsals in there because you always got that one guy driving by on his little electric scooter yelling "Free Bird," or you'll get that old guy stop and roll his window down and say, "Hey, man of constant sorrow, Rocky Top."
Rocky Top. Yeah, that's one.
Set list for the next show. We got to practice our set list.
Y'all know Knocking on Heaven's Door?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't remember if we got any requests for that. If we play there again, we probably will.
Yeah, that was always a big one. So
as far as the requests and all, the last show we played, so there's about, I don't know, 3 or 4 songs that as a bluegrass band you'll get requests for at every show. One is they don't know it's called Man of Constant Sorrow. Sometimes they know it's called Man of Constant Sorrow, but a lot of times they just say hey, any "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou"? I'm like, you mean Man of Constant Sorrow, don't you? Yeah, that one.
yeah.
And then the second one's Rocky Top. That's at the shows we play that, there's a lot of people aren't really familiar with bluegrass music.
And you know what? That's some super banjo picking there.
Oh yeah. And then the ones where they're a little more familiar with banjo picking stuff and bluegrass, I'll say, "Hey, that tune from Deliverance?" Yeah. We don't know that one either. then at the shows where like they're the bluegrass festivals and stuff where they're more familiar with it, yeah, they'll usually request Rocky Top and Foggy Mountain Breakdown.
Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah.
I like playing Foggy Mountain Breakdown. I came up with a good little break for it early on when I started playing mandolin. But by that time, our banjo player hated that song. He didn't want to play it because everybody asked him to play Foggy Mountain Breakdown. And then, whether it's a bluegrass show or one of the shows where it's not a lot of people familiar with bluegrass, of course, there's always that drunk guy in the back yelling "Free Bird."
You need a bluegrass version of Freebird's what you need.
That would probably be very successful until we got tired of playing it, which would be
Can you use a slide on a banjo?
I mean,
theoretically, yes.
Yeah. I'm sure somebody out there's done it. The secret to being successful in music is to be unique.
Yes.
Do something nobody else is doing. If that means using a slide on a banjo, so be it. But whatever you can find to stand out, you don't even have to be the best musician. You just got to be different.
Different. That's right. That's why you don't see bass players put capos on.
I mean, thanks for the idea. Somebody out there done it.
Yeah. Well, you just mentally move where you need to be.
If you put a cape on a violin, you'll definitely get some weird looks at bluegrass festivals.
I guarantee it, no doubt.
But I've seen somebody. What was it? I saw It was at a festival we played at one time. There was a band there that was like really contemporary bluegrass kind of, and the guy in there was playing what was it, a 6-string banjo with a flat pick, like strumming it like a guitar. Or no, I'm sorry. He had a pickup on his banjo and he was playing it like an electric guitar. Like it was just a regular banjo.
No kidding.
I want to say it was a 6-string though. But he was he had it plugged in through like a pedal board.
Yeah.
And he had all his effects and all, and I can't.
He wasn't claw hammering. He was actually playing.
He was playing with a flat pick. Like you could tell, like he was an electric guitar player, like a probably a Strat player or something.
Yeah.
But he was playing his banjo with a flat pick through a pedal board with some kind of effects and stuff. And as I remember, he might even been using a slide. But I can't say it was bad, but it was different.
Unique. It was unique.
It was outside of my comfort zone.
Well, I seen a guy one time take I don't know if it was a cello bow or a fiddle bow. I don't know if there any difference really, and played a guitar through with that one time, and it honestly wasn't terrible.
I have tried that before.
It wasn't terrible at all.
I've never played that like out in public, but I have tried. I got a fiddle bow somewhere, and I tried playing my either guitar or mandolin with a bow, but the only problem is
the strings are flat.
Fiddle neck is like bow shape, so you got the strings
right.
You can play one string at a time. On a guitar or anything with a flat neck, you
all
can't.
Of them. Yeah, it's all of them.
You have to play all of them. I feel like that'll be pretty tricky. Like I did try that once.
I think you would probably have to tune it to maybe like an open G or something like that, and maybe go that way with it. Maybe possibly. I don't know really.
I mean, you can play a full chord on there, but say like if you're playing a D chord or whatever, you got to make sure and silence the bass strings.
Right.
I don't know.
That's why God gave us thumbs.
There you go.
Oh man, that's good stuff, man. That's pretty cool. So what else you got, Seth?
I don't know as much about music as you do, man. But
I just listen. I don't know much. I just make it sound like I do.
There you go. I know get in trouble.
That's right.
Well, I guess I got a question for you, John. Have you been doing any shows with Kyle LeMaster?
No, I haven't. I need to get a hold of him. I'm not sure where all he's playing nowadays. I know he was playing in some churches and stuff. I think he said he's playing in church now. But yeah, I do need to get up with him and see about doing a few shows or something. Like I said, I've been staying busy with Carl Bentley Band, and we've been playing, I'd say, about one show a weekend for the foreseeable future, like next couple months. We got maybe a few free weekends, but not many. But I am definitely open to playing some like local shows, even like smaller venues. I can play acoustic, I wouldn't mind getting a few other shows, and I do need to get with Kyle and see about maybe getting together sometime and playing or setting up a session or something. But summertime's coming; it's going to be jamming season, so
yeah, for sure.
I haven't gotten to play with him lately. Unfortunately, I need to.
That's another thing I like doing. Just doing an acoustic session. Mm-hmm. Just get 3 or 4 guys up there with some acoustic instruments, sitting bar stools and just playing.
Mhm.
Nothing really. I mean, yeah, put a pickup in it or plug your acoustic in or whatever, but just for the most part, keep it simple. And I really enjoy that a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And you know as well as I do, and when things aren't electrified, your mistakes are tenfold.
Oh yeah. Oh, acoustic.
Yeah, if you're not distorted out or anything, you're
All the
you know
pressure on you, and there's nobody to cover your mistakes up.
that's right. But I mean, I like that. I like and I like on the fly. I like when people scream something from the crowd, and they just kind of look at each other and say, "Do you know that song?" And everybody's like, "No, not
Freebird?
really."
Play some
Freebird, yeah.
Yeah. They actually did that a few years ago with the virtual Zoom concerts that we had during
Oh yeah,
the mandatory the
lockdown.
mandatory lockdown. Yeah,
Yeah,
during that, not to get political, but yeah, dude, they were yelling "Freebird" and everything when Tony was playing and stuff. Actually, speaking of that, we need to have some. Maybe we'll be having a virtual Zoom concert here in the future.
well, yeah, sure.
Awesome.
And
We
I'm
should do
not a
like a
singer, and that's a crazy thing. That's one of my, I guess, downfalls is I can't sing and play at the same time.
Mm.
I either forget the chords or I forget the words. So I can't do them at the same time. So I am perfectly fine letting somebody else sing and just, let me play.
So
Yeah.
you'll be hosting it, man.
I'm totally cool with that. I'll host it, but just don't expect me to play and sing.
Me, you, and Joe can host that.
And
Some
I told you, if you ever get Tony some gigs down this way, I'd be more than happy to, set in and, play with him.
I'm down for sure, man.
Yeah, man.
Well, hey,
But
if
yeah, John, what's
do
up?
you have any venues down there, or bars, restaurants, anything you're looking for live acoustic music? I'd be glad to come down sometime.
Yeah, man, that'd be great. We do have a few bars down this way. That actually, I say bars. They're not really. They're kind of like a restaurant that serves alcohol, but they do live music and things like that. But like we have a place right here in this town I live in. Every Thursday, they close the whole street down, and at this particular restaurant, and they do an outdoor concert.
Cool.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's a place called Patties and Pints here in Ironton, Ohio.
Yep.
Okay.
They need to book Tony for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Definitely, bro. But yeah, John, maybe you and Tony can do some shows. Hopefully,
That'd be awesome.
I need to step up my booking game. I've been
Been
been off a
slacking.
little bit. I have been for real on that.
What a slacker.
I have been bad. But yeah, dude, we can definitely do a virtual Zoom concert, have John and Tony play, and like what we did was they would pay the podcast, but this time it'd be the station $1 on Patreon, and then the artist they're coming there for would also get paid. So the artist actually has made money from our virtual shows.
Cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we actually had probably about 20 people in there, which was pretty good for like a first show and stuff.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Not at all. But John, I appreciate you being on. Tracy, tell the people where they can find us at, man.
Go to Facebook, look at Nighthawk Radio Facebook page. You can go to let me see, I got it wrote down over here. Seth's Daily Podcast, where it's where you find us on YouTube and Spotify, and Seth the Soil Guy on TikTok. And I hate to say it again, but the station is coming soon. It will be nighthawkradio.com, I think. I don't know, but we'll go with that for now. And eventually we will have a email to put out. We already got a phone number, but I'm not going to put it out until this thing gets going. There's no sense in it. But yeah, look us up, Nighthawk Radio on Facebook. And I mean, we got all kinds of shows on there, everything from Bigfoot to serial killers. So that's what we got, Brad.
Where can people find you at, John?
So I am on streaming platforms as John Crouch. Now, my name does not have an H in it, just Jon and then Crouc. I am on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and then I got 4 songs out on streaming so far. You can find those anywhere you stream music: Apple Music, Pandora, Spotify, YouTube. So I got an EP out, and then I released a single. Sometime here shortly, I'm going to be working on an album. I made plans to have it done already, but I've had a few things I've been busy with held me up. But sometime, eventually, I'm going to have an album. So if y'all can follow me on Facebook, I probably post the most on Facebook, but also I've been trying to post more on TikTok lately. Everything, I just use the name John Crouch. And then also I play in the Carl Bentley Band. If you like good traditional bluegrass music, Carl is also on Facebook. I think we got all the social media. I'm actually not sure if we got a TikTok or not. I should know that. But I know that Carl Facebook. And so if you go like me, John Crouch, and the Carl Bentley Band. Carl also has an album out, or he's got a few albums out. We just released one earlier this year. Actually, it was right around the first of the year as the Carl Bentley Band. And I got to play mandolin on it. I got to sing a song on it. And the title was New Brand of Misery. So check out his album as well.
New Brand of Misery. That's what a great title.
Yeah.
What a great title.
Track. It's definitely a little bit of it's a real bluegrass song. It's a tearjerker.
I love that. That's the bluegrass I like.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you need to walk away from a crowd because you're about to shed tears, that's a good bluegrass song.
Yep, there you go. Man, I wish more people thought like that now. Like everybody, I was talking to somebody, like I said earlier, I was hanging out with one of my buddies here. We got talking about music and, old music versus new music. It seems like people today, see, I'm a big fan of story songs. That's why
I agree.
Classic country. I like George Jones. He had a lot of good stories. Keith Whitley.
Merle Haggard.
Like Tom T. Hall. He was one of the best songwriters.
Yeah.
But it seems like people nowadays like just something with a good beat and a catchy melody.
Well, see,
words can be terrible.
I have and you're exactly right. It drives me nuts because every country song, if you remember back in the 50s and 60s, they had the Brill Building and all these hit songs come out, but they all sounded the same.
Yeah.
So country music has taken this turn to where every song is either you're never going to be as country as me.
Yeah.
Your truck is never going to be as jacked up as mine. The girl dancing in the back of my truck is never going to be as hot as the one you have. And your cooler's never going to have more beer than mine. That is the basis of every country song made now.
You might have just written a hit country song there.
When back in the day, back in the day, you were right. Country songs were stories.
Mm-hmm.
Where now it's, how can I get your clothes off and how drunk can I get you before I take you home?
Yeah.
And every stinking one of them are the same. It's the same premises on every country song now. And it drives me nuts. And you know what? You can be one of the greatest singers, musicians, songwriters, but if you're ugly, you ain't gonna make it.
Yeah.
Look at some of them old guys back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. some of them were the ugliest dudes you ever saw, but they had talent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when music was still based on talent versus an image.
Mm-hmm.
And now it is all image. You may not have two shakes of any kind of talent, but if you have the look and you have a catch, then you're in.
Yeah.
And it drives me nuts.
Well, it's crazy. There's so much good, real traditional country music out there now that doesn't get any mainstream attention, airplay, because it's not what the executives want us to hear.
The thing,
Like I always say, 5 people sitting on the 3rd or 4th floor of some high riser in Nashville still can't write a song as good together as Hank Williams Jr. could write by down the lake fishing.
that's right. And you know what? George Strait, Alan Jackson, George Jones, Earl Thomas Conley, all them guys, and even, just that genre of people would never make it in country music today.
Oh,
if
yeah.
if they were starting out today, you would never hear any of their names.
I search for people like that.
And me too.
I've actually I started working on a YouTube playlist of all people like that. I found songs from like different people that I thought were really good traditional country, but didn't get any mainstream attention. And I mean, I put a few of my songs in there too, but
Well, sure.
but Alex Key, he's a traditional country artist. It's on. He's actually been. He's in the same artist group that I'm in, Midwest Artist Group, and so there's him. There's a good handful of them. There's Cole Chaney. He's actually from down there in somewhere in eastern Kentucky too.
Yeah. And I'll tell you one that got a little bit of mainstream play, but was so traditional country that I loved was Daryl Singletary.
Oh yeah, he was awesome.
Oh my gosh, and he had a few mainstream hits, but the stuff that wasn't hits were better than the stuff that were hits to me.
Yeah, I love
Long Black Veil. I mean, there was just so many of them. The Violin. I mean,
yeah,
just great country songs that never saw airplay.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know.
That's my rant on country music. And when did they start putting rap in country music? Come on.
What do you get when you combine country and rap?
Crap.
I can't say.
And that's what it is. Crap. It's just terrible. It doesn't belong. The two does not belong. It's I don't know, man. It's like sticking peanut butter on your bologna sandwich. It just don't belong.
That's a good way to put it.
Oh no, I like it a little bit.
Of course you would, Seth. Take us home, my friend.
Everybody have a good night. God bless. Want to thank John Crouch for being on. Want to thank Tracy for co-hosting as always. And be on the lookout for our virtual Zoom concert coming soon. Subscribe everywhere you can find good podcasts at. Definitely give us a follow on the Nighthawk Radio Facebook page. Nighthawkradio.com will be soon. Everybody have a good night. God bless.